Do you ever walk out of a movie and no one talks? Like, you go and see a picture with your friends, and when it's over, there's just like, you can hear the crickets practically because it's had that much of an impact on you. Yeah, this movie is like that. Hi guys, today we're reviewing Martin Scorsese's Silence, which if you saw my list of most anticipated films for 2017, you know that that was number 2. And I recently went and saw the film with my boyfriend and some friends of ours, Mike and Noma. And I don't know, every time I go to the movies with Mike and Noma, we always end up seeing really, really good movies. So I think it's a good sign. But anyway, long story short, this is an incredibly impactful film. And I really was enthralled by it. There's not many movies like this that have come along. In fact, this may have very well snuck under your radar, despite the fact that it is directed by Martin Scorsese, who is one of my favorite directors of all time. I have yet to see this guy make a bad movie. And Silence, for me, anyway, was right up there among some of his best. Is it his best? I don't know. Everyone has their different opinions about that. But I really, really appreciate this film. It's a tough film to watch, but it's a timely film to watch, and it's very important. If you haven't seen the trailers or if you don't know what it's about, it stars Andrew Garfield and Adam Driver as these two Jesuit priests who go to feudal Japan to find their mentor, played by Liam Neeson. They've heard that he's committed apostasy, which means he's renounced the Catholic faith in public. And they can't believe this, because this is the man who motivated them and inspired them to pursue the gospel. So they go to look for him, and also to spread the word of God in Japan. But this is a time in history when that was totally not a cool thing to do. And if you were caught, you either had to renounce your faith publicly by stepping on an image of Christ or, the Virgin Mary or the cross, or you could die in a really horrible way. So does that happen in this film? Yes, there are some scenes that are difficult to watch, some torture scenes, death scenes that are not played for shock factor at all. And I commend Scorsese's for this in a lot of his movies. He doesn't show the violence to be like, ooh, look what I can do. He shows the violence in a way that reminds us of how brutal those acts can be and how they're not a game. It's not, it's not fun. It's something that seems very real and very visceral and really hits you in the feels. And let's talk about the acting in this movie. Everyone in this movie, of course, is phenomenally cast. Their performances are top-notch. Andrew Garfield as Father Rodriguez is, of course, fantastic. Andrew Garfield, in my mind, is one of the best actors out there today. We saw him in Hacksaw Ridge last year, and he also turned in a phenomenal performance in that. He gives another great turn in this film as a young man who starts out with so much, just so much joie de vivre, for lack of a better term, in terms of his faith and his certainty in it. And as the film progresses, you see how when he's exposed to this different worldview in Japan and how his faith comes up against violence and disparagement, how that changes him. And it's played in such a way that isn't pandering, it isn't insulting, it's just such a human portrayal. And for that, I was really disappointed that Garfield didn't get nominated. I'm disappointed that none of the actors got nominated for an Academy Award. Granted, I know Academy Awards should not be the measure of how good a film is. They usually aren't. But the fact that this movie only got nominated for the cinematography was a little bit disappointing to me, although, again, the cinematography is amazing. They filmed this on location in Taiwan, and just the panoramic shots and the countryside and just utilizing the natural environment makes for a really breathtaking movie. Also, Adam Driver, he plays Father Gurupe. And I didn't know about Adam Driver at all. I know that he was in Girls, but I had never seen him in anything until I saw him as Kylo Ren, of course, in Star Wars: The Force Awakens. And in my opinion, he was one of the best things about that movie. His performance was so menacing, yet so moving. And he turns in, of course, another great performance in Silence. Of course, let's talk a little bit about the Japanese actors, too. They deserve a lot of credit. Yusuke Kuba... Oh, boy. You know, I'm not good with names. Yusuke Kobasuka? Someone comment below and let me know how badly I butchered that. He is fantastic, as is Issei Ogata as the Grand Inquisitor, the antagonist of the movie. He also is a very interesting villain, and in fact, I almost hesitate to call him a villain, because to hear him talk and the way he explains why he's doing these horrible things, he has such an eloquence about him and almost this daintiness. Like, he really doesn't want to do it, but hey, it's the way it is. So, you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. And that makes his character all the more upsetting. So, if you guys get a chance, I know this movie didn't open in a lot of theaters nationwide. At least it didn't locally in our neck of the woods. Like, when we went and saw it, one of the only times that it was showing was like 9:30 at night. So if you're anywhere where you can still see this movie, if you have a chance to rent it, I highly suggest that you do. Some people I've heard have complaints with this movie because it asks a lot of really hard questions without giving any definitive answers. But personally, that's why I like it, because it does ask those questions and it leaves the answers up to us. Because I personally feel that faith, religion, is something that we have to come to grips with for ourselves. No one can tell us, well, this is the way you need to believe, and this is the way you need to live your life, and this is the ideology in which you need to embrace in order to be a whole person. Personally, I don't believe that. I believe that we really have to come to grips with the concept of faith ourselves. Whether we do or not, it's an internal struggle. And I think this movie reflects that really, really well. And if you get the opportunity to see it, I highly suggest you do. Silence. So have you seen it? If you have, let me know what you thought about it. Please share this video with your friends. Bring them in on the conversation. Thanks very much for watching, you guys. Stay tuned. I have another review for Cure for Wellness coming up. That was also on my list of top 10 films I want to see in 2017. So come on back. Let's talk about movies some more. Thanks.